We're back and we are continuing the UFC fight card. UFC Fight Night Seattle. Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong. Let's get right into it. But remember, this Saturday we are live for the watch party for this fight card. And also, this week is also the rematch of Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol. So we're going to watch that with the watch party of UFC. So we got 2 fights on there. I was going to do like BKFC and that, but then 3 is a bit too much. So we're just going to do those 2. But let's get right into today's video, which is John Silva versus Melsik Baghdasaryan. Baghdasaryan is 8-2. His country is Armenia. Stands at 5'9" tall. He weighed at 157 pounds, and his last win has a reach of 70 inches and a leg reach at 39 inches. While Silva, on the other hand, is 14-2. His country is Brazil. He stands at 5'7", so he's a little bit shorter. He weighed at 155 pounds, has a reach of 69 inches and a leg reach at 36.5 inches. Okay, so the main things to note off here is John Silva has the more wins. They both have the same losses, so John Silva does have the more experience in the pro scene at least. The country doesn't really matter. I mean, it does in a way because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a thing. The Russians are very deadly with their wrestling and grappling. Americans are fairly okay at striking. I know I'm going to piss off people saying that. The 2 inches of height here. The weight will be at the featherweight bout limit, so that's going to be fine, hopefully, as long as they weigh in properly. The reach, 1 inch goes to Melsik. That's not enough to really know anything off here. And then a 2.5 inch leg reach advantage going into Melsik's favor. So a lot of the stats are going into Melsik's favor, but not enough to be like, this is who's going to win and how they're going to win and how they need to, what they need to do to get the win. So let's move on to win buys to see how they've got it done in their previous fight, to see how they could possibly advance on each other. But let's move on to win buys right now. With a 79% KO TKO, 14% submission, 7% decision, average fight time sitting at 9 minutes, and a knockdown average of 1 for John Silva. Melsik Baghdasaryan, on the other hand, 63% KO TKO, 0% submission, 38% decision with an average fight time sitting at 12 minutes and a knockdown average of 0. So, knowing things off here, these 2 are strikers, heavy strikers. Although John Silva does have the more submissions, I don't know if he'll use that in this fight. I think he should, but they both are very deadly on the feet, so maybe keep it on the feet and see what happens there. And when it comes to decisions, Melsik. So if it does go to a decision, I'm gonna give it to Melsik, but if it does go to a knockout on the feet, it could go either way currently. But let's move on to one last bit of stat for the win buys before we finish off this segment. So Melsik has a 5 wins by knockout. He's lost 2 times by submission. His decision has 3 wins. Tucker Lutz was his last win. He won via unanimous decision, and then his previous fight before that, he obviously lost by a rear naked choke, and then he won again by decision. He knocked out Colin Angelin. So right now, based off of these, I'm gonna go decision here for Melsik because his 2 previous wins are coming by a decision, but his previous loss is coming by submission. But let's move on to John Silva. John Silva has 2 wins by submission, 1 win by decision, 11 wins by KO or TKO, and his only losses are coming by decision. He beat Drew Dober by a doctor stoppage, Charles Jourdain by an uppercut, so he knocked him out, punches, decision. So decision, knockout, and damage. Based off of these stats, it's going to be very hard for Melsik to win because Melsik's 2 previous wins are coming by decisions, while John Silva has landed damage, which caused the fight to stop, and knocked out 2 previous guys. So I think going into this, it's gonna be to John Silva. Yes, he doesn't have that reach, he doesn't have that height, but the reach is so close. I think John Silva is a lot more deadlier on the feet, and if it does go to grappling, he's gonna be more deadly there as well because Melsik's been submitted. So I think John Silva really could just play around in this fight, not mess about and just like fucking showboat and dance around. Obviously take it as serious as possible, but I feel that he will come out on top no matter what the outcome is, unless if it goes to a decision. But looking at the doctor stoppage thing, he can land the damage that can win fights. He can win rounds by damage. So maybe he wins by decision. Melsik can win it by decision. It depends on who lands the more damaging shots. But let's move on to significant strikes to see who landed more in the previous fight and performed better on the feet based off the stats. So these are the stats will start to tell us who will win if it goes to a decision. Melsik Baghdasaryan has an average of 5 punches landed per minute, 61% significant strikes, an average of 3 punches absorbed per minute with a defense of 58%. While John Silva, on the other hand, had an average of 5 punches landed per minute, 52% significant strikes, an average of 4 punches absorbed per minute with a defense of 57%. So Melsik won his previous fight by decision, so you'd expect him to have quite high stats with the striking. But John Silva, I do believe it said around 3 doctor stoppage, so it shows that Melsik going to a full bout can do 5 punches average, can land very high significant strikes percentage. He can absorb quite less, and he has fairly good defense. John Silva, on the other hand, now it's not bad either. 5 punches landed per minute, 52% significant strikes. Not as good as Melsik, but you didn't go the full bout. You did land more damaging shots than Melsik might have landed because you actually forced a doctor's stoppage. He absorbed 4 punches. Again, Melsik absorbed less, and he went the full bout while you didn't go the full bout. So if you did, could it have been better? Could it have been worse? We don't know. The defense was close enough. So I would probably say if we're saying they perform like this in their next fight, in this fight against each other, if it does go to a decision, I would give it to Melsik because of the stats. He landed more significant strikes. He landed a little bit less, but he landed more damaging shots, and he absorbed less anyways. And the defense was 58%. Now, Jean Silva, on the other hand, it's a bit difficult to say, oh, he landed 5 when it says he absorbed 3. So you can't really see him and be like, oh, well, he only absorbed this. Because these are 2 different fights anyways. But if these were the stats, you'd give it to Melsik because he landed more significant strikes. It depends also, did he land more significant strikes in round 1? Or did he land it throughout the whole fight? Because if he lands more significant strikes in round 1, but Jean Silva lands more significant strikes in round 2 and 3, Jean Silva would win. But it also shows the power of Jean Silva. Doesn't need to land really high significant strike stats to damage his opponents, to hurt his opponents, to knock out his opponents. So for Jean Silva, this is pretty good. For Melsik, it's good, but have you got that power to put Jean Silva away? And does Jean Silva have the power to put Melsik away? We will find out in this fight, hopefully. But let's move on to the grappling as our final stats of the day. Jean Silva had an average of 1 takedown, 50% takedown accuracy, 80% takedown defense, with a submission average of 0. While Melsik Baghdasaryan, on the other hand, had a 0 takedown average, 0% takedown accuracy, 72% takedown defense, and a submission average of 0 as well. I don't see much grappling coming from Melsik, but Jean Silva, I could see him attempting some takedowns, attempting to get it in close, to get it a little bit dirty, to make it a dirty boxing match, maybe make it a Muay Thai fight, and going for some takedowns. Do I think he gets it based off the 72% takedown defense? Yes, I think he could if he attempts multiple, but Jean Silva only had a 50% takedown accuracy, which is half. A 0.81 takedown average is not great, but how many did he attempt? Not many. And an 80% takedown defense of Jean Silva is very good. So I don't think Melsik, if he attempts any, will get any. But if Jean Silva attempts, I think he will get 1 or 2 if he continues to attempt it. But I do believe this fight stays on the feet for a long time, and I think Jean Silva does get the knockout or Melsik gets a decision win. But that doesn't mean Melsik can't knock him out, and that doesn't mean Jean Silva can't submit him, and doesn't mean Jean Silva won't get a decision win either. But based off the stats from what I've seen, who could it benefit more in these certain factors? I would probably give the fight to Jean Silva, but that's just my thoughts and my opinions and my predictions. What do you guys think? Who do you think wins that? How do you think to win? Apart from that, I'll catch you in a bit. Take care and peace.